Hello, and welcome back. There was an update to Avernus on the preview server last night, so this video I'm going to be talking about what changed. Today we're learning. I'm not going to talk about everything that was changed because some of the stuff is pretty minor and not really worth mentioning, so I'm just going to talk about what I deem important, and then if you want to read everything, you can use your eyeballs on the link in the description. I'm sorry, I know you don't like to use your eyeballs, but sometimes it's necessary, okay? Now, I'm just going to start with quest and zone-related stuff for the Stronghold. I'm just going to call it the Stronghold because that's what it is with a different skin on it. There were performance improvements. So hopefully, well, so far what I've seen, I have not been having frame drops, which I have a pretty good PC and I was getting a lot of frame drops in the Stronghold, so the Heal Our Wounded quest, that's the one where you have to go around, kill the stuff, and then give this potion to people, and then they run away asking for a healer, even if you are the healer. Yeah, anyways, so that quest, you only have to heal 3 people instead of 5 now, which is nice, because it just is. And you're also going to have to kill more types of enemies other than just imps now because the groups were changed so that there's not just imps in them, because imps are pretty easy. Okay, another quest thing. This is something I saw a lot of people mentioning / complaining about, and that is the herb collection quest. People were like, I can't see them. There's no sparkles. There's no purple flowers on the floor. Well, that was only for lower graphics settings, so they will actually appear at low graphic settings now, so you can see them, which is nice because it's kind of hard to look for something that's not there. Also, just in general, there's no longer any locations where demons and devils appear to work together, because I have been educated in one of my comments on one of my other Mod 18 videos that demons and devils are enemies, and they're not supposed to be in the same place because they are against each other. Inside that little bubble inside the Vallenhas Stronghold, you can change your loadouts and stuff, and it has campfire effects in that whole area, and then there actually is a campfire in there too, just in case you want to burn your sins. Right, okay, moving on. There were a bunch of changes to classes, really only Wizard and Ranger, and then one Warlock thing. I'm not going to mention all of them, because a lot of them are just like tooltip updates or things actually working the way they're supposed to and stuff, but Ranger, there's one for Ranger that I thought was kind of funny and interesting, and it is that the Ranger buffs don't work on the opposing team in PvP anymore. So apparently beforehand, you could buff your enemies. I mean, that's awfully nice of you to buff your enemies, but that's just not tolerated. Now for Wizard, I think people are going to be happy about this. I mean, I don't play a Wizard, but these things seem like they should be good, and that is critical conflagration now works for AoE powers, and Conduit of Ice now ticks 8 times instead of 7, so it ticks 1 more time for that little bit extra damage, and Icy Terrain also ticks 1 additional time. However, there were a couple of things that were decreased, being Ray of Enfeeblement ticks 1 less time, and Directed Flames now only procs the damage from Smolder or Rimefire once every 12 seconds. But the Smolder from Directed Flames now gives you 80% of the regular Smolder damage instead of 50%. And one of the feats were changed, the Rimefire Weaving one. And it now lowers the target's damage resistance by 5% when either Smolder or Chill is on the target, and 10% when Rimefire is on the target. You smell that? It smells like changes in here. And then Warlock's thing, Creeping Death, it's now a stacking damage over time that does 10 magnitude damage per stack every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. And it stacks up to 10 times, and that's a lot of numbers in one sentence. But at least they're not fractions. Now as far as the new dungeon goes, the gas spores and their little splotches on the ground now reset properly whenever you wipe in the Morzok fight. That is the first boss, and that was an issue that we encountered often in the private testing, and it was quite annoying. And also, the damage area for Morzok Spine Toss was not properly displaying all the time before, which I have never seen an area display for that, so that would be really helpful. because the area for that seems ginormous. And then the first boss deals a little bit more damage now, and then the second and third bosses deal a little bit less damage. Which I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it says slightly more and slightly less, so I feel like the difference is not going to be that noticeable, but I still don't know how I feel about that. Alright. You all complained about the new artifact set bonus, and so it's been changed now. I don't know if it's really that much better, but it's better than it was. And instead of it being 5% damage bonus against demons, devils, and fiends, it is now 2.5%. 2.5. It is now 2.5% against all targets, and then an additional 2.5% against demons, devils, and fiends. So you still get that 5% that it was before, but there's also 2.5% against everything. Yeah, I mean, any improvement is improvement, right? Also, something that I personally am happy about is the rusted iron leggings. These are the pair of boots that previously had minus 50% incoming healing on them and then 5% outgoing damage. It has been changed. Don't worry, it's still 5% outgoing damage, but the incoming healing reduction is now only 25% instead of 50%, which is fantastic. That is something I can deal with, but 50% was a little bit excessive. Now it's time for some general stuff. Something that is interesting is that if you buy bags on the Zen store now, like inventory bags, they're now bound to account, when previously they were not bound at all and you could sell them on the auction house or trade them or whatever, but they are bound now. So I wonder what is going to be happening in the future that is going to allow bags to be obtained from somewhere else, maybe, and they want the market to die down, maybe, so that there's less of them, maybe? I don't know, that's just a shot in the dark and probably not true at all. But that means there's not going to be any improved bags of holding on the auction house anymore. You can now get appearance items in the dungeon chest in Infernal Citadel. This was something that we talked about in the private test group, and it was mentioned on the forums as well once it went public, and now it actually has been added, so you can get transmutes in that chest. I don't know what the chance is or what all of the items are, but they were asking for suggestions on the forums, and people were suggesting a lot of the older transmutes or the cooler looking ones that you can't get very easily or at all anymore, so hopefully it is those ones. Okay, now something that I personally find very nice, and I'm sure a lot of you will too, is that in the options in the display section, there's now a slider for field of view. Previously, you had to use that command GFX set default field of view and then a number. Now there's just a slider for you to do it, and it updates in real time so that you can change your field of view as much as you want, anywhere from 50 to 120, and that's awesome. Super convenient, no more typing in a command or copying and pasting a command. Very nice. And also, one last thing, if you have had any missing fashion items or stuff go missing whenever you logged into a newer version of the game, like mainly whenever you went from the old fashion system to the new system, they updated the process of transferring fashion items to the new fashion system so that it shouldn't happen anymore. So this isn't going to help you if your stuff already disappeared, although I'm sure if you contact support, they'll probably be like, I guess we can give you some fashion. I don't really know. But it should stop that from ever happening again, so if any of your stuff, if you haven't logged into a character in a long time, and it needs to be converted to the new fashion system, you should be able to do that without missing anything in Mod 18. I actually haven't heard of that happening very often, but apparently it did happen enough that it became a problem. Alright, I lied about that being the last thing. I forgot something that is relatively important in the Vallenhas area section thing, and that is that the rare monsters that spawn, you can get rewards for everyone that helps kill the monster. Instead of just the person that actually gets the killing blow, everyone who helps kill can get some loot, which is pretty great. And then the drop rates have been increased from Juma's bag as well. Okay, that is everything. Thank you for watching or listening or whatever. It's time for the most important words of the entire video, so get ready. Okay, bye.